Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't African, the talk show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find his way to America stuck in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, Buck Wylam, and tonight we're going to do a review of the year that's passed by. Some of the shows that we talked about, we're going to get some of the comments that people have posted on the shows that we had and kind of get an overall feel of what we're putting out to the people and what they're saying. Most of what we're getting is some positive feedback. We're getting a lot of negative feedback, but we'll talk about that tonight and why the negative feedback is coming back, because this is really important. And when you listen to what the people are saying in their negative feedback, you will definitely understand that our minds have been toxic for a long time. Joining me tonight, as always, my co-host Rick Moon. Rick, how you feeling tonight, brother?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, Buck, and I would like to say hello to all the people out there in Radio Land, and hope we can go over what we've done in the past, and hope you like the show, and we'll also be talking about future shows, too, so get ready.
Yeah, coming up Thursday, we're going to have a show, something that we're going to have to talk about in the community. I got a letter from a young lady a couple of days ago saying that she was molested when she was 9 years old. And one of the things that goes on in our community that we don't like to talk about, but we're seeing the remnants of it, is the molestation of our children. Now, one of the reasons that brothers don't talk about it is because brothers know they have to do something about it. And normally when the African American male or the black male has to stand up for his community, normally he's in the background not saying anything. This doesn't happen all the time, because you do have brothers and you do have sisters out there standing up. But normally they'll have one or two people by their side while the rest of the people are out at the ball game, at the club, or doing whatever coonery that we have planned for that day. So this sister wrote me a letter saying that she was molested by a family member. And the letter is a trip because this happened to her over 20 years ago, but she's still dealing with the problems today. It's making her hard to communicate with other people. It's making her hard to deal with a lot of guys. It's making it hard for her to date. It's making it hard for her to be social with males. So a lot of times with brothers, we love, if you into this Tommy Sotomayor guy, a lot of brothers do a lot of nasty things to our sisters. But many of the times, they're like they are because we are how we are. We've changed our number to call into African Americans Ain't African because the phone lines that we had were getting overloaded. So we changed our number. So if you want to call in and dialogue with us, our number is 605-562-3140. And if you want to participate, you want to ask a question, you want to call, please press the participant code, and the participant code is 240-670 and then the pound key. So the dial-in number is 605-562-3140 and the participant code is 240-670 pound. Rick, did you see the post I posted today on Facebook in the African American Ain't African chat room about hempcrete?
No, Book, I didn't get a chance to see that. I was busy today, so I had a lot to do, and I didn't really get on there, so I missed it.
There's a product on the market. I think the company is out of France, and it's called hempcrete. And all hempcrete is concrete made out of hemp. Now, a lot of times in the African American community, we get, when we bring what we bring to the community, one of the first things that's done in our community, because we've been beat down so much and we're never given any solutions, one of the first things that people always say, well, what are the solutions? it's normally that those people who ask those solutions are all around you. You can come up with a solution. Don't look for nobody else to give a solution. Get in where you fit in. But on this hempcrete, this is a solution. Here in the southeast, one of the things that Americans are privy to is lots and lots and lots of land, lots and lots and lots of earth, and we're just not doing anything with it. Now, I'm down here in Birmingham, Alabama, and Mexicans are opening up stores, fruit stores, down here in the deep south. And I'm just going to be frank, honest with you. If the Americans don't pull their head out of their asses on this one, you're going to have some problems. If you think I'm lying, call any of your families and friends in California, and they will tell you that the people who are coming across the border, they're coming to replace you. Because at the rate we're going, we won't stand a chance. So hempcrete is the strongest and greenest building material in nature. And from what these people are saying, what they're doing is they're taking hemp and they're mixing it with lime to make a concrete, an all natural concrete. So if you get online, look up hempcrete, HEMPCRETE, hempcrete. They call it the future of construction. Well, one of the things I was talking about is something that these young males can do, these young females can do. Start growing hemp. Now, you can grow hemp for several purposes. You can grow it for food. You can grow it for medicine. You can grow it for fuel. You can grow it for energy. You can grow it for paper. You can grow it for clean fabric. You can grow it for protein. And you can also grow it to smoke, which I don't have a problem with, but I think this is one of the reasons why the so-called African American community, we don't move nowhere. We can't think outside of the box what has been made for us. Down here in the Deep South, they had a brother down here running for mayor in Birmingham last year, and one of the things that he put on the ballot was medical marijuana. The black community turned their nose up at him. Now, and this is typical of the so-called African American. All your children are going to jail selling nickel and dime bags of weed. The Europeans are growing it, making trillions of dollars, billions off of you, and we still can't get into that mindset of doing something for ourselves. So hempcrete, hemp to make clothes. When they gonna start making some brother clothes, Rick? You too tired of wearing this made in China stuff?
Yeah, I am, man. Yeah, I'm wondering when that day coming too, man.
So what I'm thinking is just it can be used for commercial uses, nutritional uses, medicinal uses. And this is something that, as Dr. Mumbo Jumbo gives us all the time, we need to connect back to the earth. Because this is one of those natural products that we can use and that could be a boon for our communities. So all the listeners, check out hempcrete. I think it's something, and maybe if you're in one of those cities or states, Washington, Colorado, or one of the other states that are opening up to, making medicinal marijuana legal or hemp legal. Maybe this is one of the things that you can get into, or as a group, or any one of the groups, church groups, or any group that can be put in their air. Start growing hemp. It can be used for more than just smoking. So I think if we start looking out of the box and seeing some ways that we can cure some of these illnesses and ills to our community, this could be one of the ways that can be doing it. What we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to go over the first 6 months of how we've been coming along at African American. The listeners, you guys have been off the hook. I appreciate every single last one of you. Your comments, we're going to share some of them tonight. The comments and what you've learned, especially the youth. I'm going to read a comment from a young man tonight. This dude is under 20, and what he says is going to blow you away. If, like I said, if you have any comments, please give us a call at area code 605-562-3140. If you got any questions, you want to come to the conversation, the participant code is 240670 pound. We can also be reached at AfricanAmericans.org. Please go to the website and support us. We're starting to get more supporters on the website. Thank you guys very much. We're also on Facebook at African Americans Ain't African, in the chat room African Americans Ain't African. One thing about the chat room and Facebook, Rick, and I want you to put in on this too, is the information that people are sharing to that room, the pictures. I'm talking about pictures, the drawings that people are going out. Because since we've been putting out this information, 99% of the people sweep it under the rug or say it's bullshit. The 1% that are going out, looking this stuff up and asking their parents and asking their grandparents who they are, the information that they're bringing back is mind-blowing. So that's why we don't get a lot of static from the Afrocentric community or the Moorish community, because they know better. And one of the reasons why we suffer is we just won't do better. We know damn well that no ship of 400 or 500 people per ship made it across the Atlantic. But we keep believing in these games. And like Stevie Wonder say, when you believe in things you don't understand, you suffer. So we want to get into it. Our first show we did, well, it wasn't a show. I did an interview in South Carolina a couple of years ago when I first came to the Southeast. This group out of South Carolina was wondering, what was I talking about when I was talking about African American Ain't African? And I explained it to them. They have it now. Told them some things to do. One of the things that can be done in the community also, this is some more solutions. One of the things, being that a lot of immigrants are coming over here and they're here to replace the African American in these jobs, one of the ways that the African American can checkmate that is, in the South you have a lot of empty homes down here. A lot of these homes are tax lien homes, which simply means parents have died off, grandparents have died off, parents, relatives have moved away to other cities, and these houses are just down here just going to waste. You pay the back taxes on them, which is in the South. Everybody knows the taxes in the South are dirt cheap. That's why a lot of people run down here after they retire. Get a tax lien home. Fix it up. Bring your son, nephews, those who are wallowing in those cities, and bring them down here so they can start working, using some skills to build up these homes down here. One of the advantages of tax lien homes is that your rent is alleviated. Your mortgage is alleviated. You just pay the taxes every year. And so check out what the taxes are on that property, and I think that's a better alternative to paying in California, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month to somebody else, and that money is just burnt up and you don't get nothing with it. With the African American, that's the way to go. The African American loves that. Since I've been down here, I've told about 2,000 people about it. Only 3 have done it, and they can't believe it. So that lets you know how we're stuck, how the African American is trained to be the white person's doormat, basically. So tax lien homes, hemp, crevice, all kind of stuff, and I'm sure me and Rick will be talking about it tonight. So the first show that I put up was about talking about African Americans, doing an interview on why African Americans aren't African. And the people who I talked to in South Carolina, they definitely understood it and they got it. So these questions and stuff are going to be coming up on the YouTube page, what people have been writing over the past few months about the things we've been posting. This is from an African male. And he says, okay, if you're not African, then where did you come from? You dropped from heaven? Please, until you can tell me, oh, I came from so and so and so, you're an African. Now, this is somebody from the continent. One of the things I notice about people from other countries, they can always tell the Americans who they are. White people can tell Americans who they are. Africans can tell Americans who they are. Asians can tell Americans who they are. Hispanic people can tell Americans who they are. And the funny thing about the American, anytime somebody other than himself tells him who he is, he believes it. His grandmama didn't tell him nothing, that he was from no African. His grandmama didn't tell him that he was a Hebrew Israelite. His granddaddy didn't tell him he was no more. We will sweep everything that we come from or where our families tell us about ourselves, we'll sweep all that under the rug and believe lies other people tell us. What you say about that, Rick?
And then like I say, man, I agree with you 100%. And the thing about it, when these elders do tell them about their native heritage, they don't want to listen to that. And to this day, we still celebrate African holidays, all this Black History Month stuff, all pointed towards Africa, and and all that. And we just won't get into what our parents and their parents told them, and they'll give the identity to somebody else. And what I don't understand is, if your grandmother was an Indian, what does that make you?
Well, you know what Boss said. You know what Boss said, Rick. Boss said, I'm black, I'm a nigga, and whatever Boss say, brother, that's what I got to go with. And I find it embarrassing that in 2014, I'm in Alabama, man. Do you know the people here still haven't caught on to the invasion from the Hispanics that are coming here? Now, when these Hispanics infiltrate the Northeast, I'm sorry, not the Northeast, the Southeast, because, like I say, call anybody in California, they have kicked Negroes around in California. Anybody in California on the line or want to call in and attest to that fact, please do. If they come down here to the Southeast and do what they do in California, you're going to have the Southeast looking like Egypt in less than 50 years. Because the people who are connected to this land, the people who this is their habitat, the people who were created by this land are supposed to be here working with the land, creating with the land, getting the building from the land. And the so-called African American, they don't do that. The number one purpose, and if anybody can give me some information to contradict this, please call in. The only purpose that the African Americans serve is to buy other people's products. That's it. They don't educate their children. The brothers don't take some cities, some towns, and build towns and cities for their women and children to live in comfortably. The first man on the planet, supposedly the black man, he doesn't build transportation, planes, trains, or automobiles. The black man doesn't build chainsaws. The black man doesn't build lawnmowers. The black man doesn't build shoes. The only thing that the black man is for is to fill up the jails for cheap labor and to ensure that his children has their mind washed by these, why do we even call them schools? I don't know. We should be ashamed of that. And the other purpose of the black man is to make sure that your woman go back beg a foreigner for a job, because as a group of males, we are impotent in that field. We look crazy when other males come from other parts of the world and come to your home and build on your land, and you calling yourself an African. So that was from an African man. Everybody can call us something, and the catch is we believe what they tell us. This is a comment from the same video from a white female. This is what she says. It's amazing how embarrassed they are to say they're actually from Africa. What's wrong with being black or African? Now let's laugh at how a lot of black people say they are half Native American and they look lighter than Africans because their ancestors were sexed or raped by white slaves. It's an embarrassing history, but just accept it. Now this is from a white girl. This reminds me of the type of white girl that the cat Tommy Sotomayor may like. You know, white people can tell you about your history. I don't. What I learned about white people's history is their whole history is to destroy everything they come in contact with. I know there's many of us who will stand up for boss and say that's not the case. I know there's many of us who love their master and to say, no, since he's been here and made us slaves, we have been better off. I know there's many of us like that. But here's a European female telling you that you black. And so I wrote to her back. I gave her the definition of black. And the definition of black is, I posted it up on Facebook today. And we'll talk about that a little later on in the show, the definition of black. These are the labels people put on us. We don't question it. We don't debate it. We don't object to it. Whatever they call us, we swallow it. We cool with it. We had no problems with it. Then we'll teach our kids to it. To say I'm black and I'm proud. That's an oxymoron. You can't be black and be proud. If you think I'm lying, ask Michael Jackson. Ask James Brown. Ask James Brown. This is how our minds are washed. This is why we like we are. This is why when you ask your elders questions about us, many of them can't answer because they don't know. They haven't studied. The civil rights group, we're going to have to go ahead and start coming up with some alternative plans, because that whole civil rights group, that whole civil rights plan was to make sure that we were consumers. That was the purpose of that movement. How we don't know that today is crazy. The whole purpose of the civil rights movement was to ensure that these Jews and all these other foreigners have permanent consumers to buy their products. How do you know? Why do you say that, Buck? That ain't what happened. We can go to school with them now. We can ride on airplanes now. You was riding on airplanes back then. You had your own schools at one time. And from what I'm understanding down here in the South, the way the school system went down here, when Americans got out of school, when they were taught by their people, they were damn near genius. They were getting the education that Venus and Serena father would give them. They were getting the education that Tiger Woods' father would give them. They was given the education that Michael Jackson and his brother's father would give them. I'm not talking about what happened to them as they got into that craft, because once they got into where their parents trained them to go into another people's field, their parents trained them to go and integrate. You look at Tiger Woods, you see how that turned out for him. Venus and Serena, you see how that turned out for them. And poor Michael. Now what I'm saying is the training that they got from their parents, what their parents trained them to do. You can argue that Venus and Serena are some of the baddest tennis players ever in the world. Their father taught them that. You can argue that Tiger Woods is one of the best golfers ever. His father trained him to be that way. You can say that the Jackson 5 and Michael Jackson were some of the baddest entertainers the world have ever seen. Personally, I like the Jackson 5. Michael was cool, but when you saw those 5 or 6 brothers working together on step, doing their thing, that was something to behold. Rick, I know you were a Michael Jackson fan in his later stages. How did that go?
No, I'm a Jackson 5 man myself. uh, I didn't, once he started that I'm bad, he kind of lost me after that.
You wasn't into the facelifts and the bleaching and all that.
No, I wasn't. But I did like his first two albums. What's it, Off the Wall and Thriller. I thought they were good. But like I said, when he started talking about how bad he was, he kind of, kind of went downhill for me.
I think that was I think Michael Jackson. I think the Michael Jackson story is the epitome of the African American. I think his story is the epitome of what's happening to the group that calls themselves the African American. Started off vibrant. Started off I mean, I don't want to say bad because bad means what? Hermaphroditic. Bad means like a guy trying to be a girl. Bad isn't what we think it means. Bad means I'm trying to be a girl. Check out the etymology of the word bad, or you can check out a lady named Yafa Bay. She gives excellent breakdown on the terminologies and the words we use. Because the way we use words, we're basically trained, the African American is basically trained like animals. They throw us words, we don't know the definition of them, but yet we use them. And when we start using them on ourselves, that's when we start to put the spell on ourselves. And we're going to get into that later on because that's very important. It's very important that we know this. So to me, the African American community, you're seeing them, Michael Jackson's life story is the perfect movie for the so-called African American. Started off vibrant. Everybody loves you. But the love, the hatred that you have for yourself and your people, it won't sustain you. Michael Jackson died with white children. Michael Jackson died with white children. Michael Jackson died with white kids, y'all. So in 50, 100 years when we gone, they gonna have Michael Jackson kid. Michael Jackson to be white. The way the brains will be washed by then, most of us won't even be thinking. And his children, all that money that they told you Michael Jackson was broke. Come on, y'all. I know we not that crazy. The white people inherited it. That's their money now. All the money that the little American children spent buying Michael Jackson albums and records when we were young, that money goes to other people. And I guess it's fitting because that's what we like doing that. We feel good when we can make other people rich. That the African Americans, that is. So what Michael Jackson has done, and everybody still loves him, I think is one of the worst tragedies ever in human history. The Michael Jackson story, and like I said, the African American is the Michael Jackson story. And on January 8th, we did a show called Words That Keep the African American Confused. And it's like the word black. Now, when you look at the word black, we posted it up on African American Ain't African today. And this is the definition of the word black. Give me 1 second. I got part of the definition. I just want to pull up the whole definition. Because the definition, you're going to see, you will see the damage ourselves. You will see what we're doing to ourselves. Black. It's an adjective. Black and Blake. Now, a lot of this stuff is the, Eastern European, Slovenia, Kyrgyzstan, Greek, Spanish, Portuguese. All these people, they're one group of people, but they have different languages. They have different ways of, just like we do. So when you're looking at these words, you have to keep that in mind. So black. Black means black is pale, wan, livid. Blation, blacken. To become pale, to turn white. To become black, to blacken. Black as in ink, sweeten, black, pale, wan, livid, black, ink. Blacker, to insulate, to expose to the sun, or to bleach. Also to lighten, to flash. Bleak, the word bleak, pale, bleaken, to bleach. German, blech, pale, wan. And by the way, English is a form of Greek. English is a form of German. The English colonized the British. The English and the English are Germans. This is a homework assignment. This is something to teach your children. Teach your children this. English is the form of German, so we speak in German. Blake, pale, bleak. These are the words that go with black. Black, bleak, bleaching, to bleach. Danish, black, as in ink. It's ink. It's a thing. It's not to describe a person. The word means a thing. Bleak, pale, wan, bleak, sallow, bleaker, to bleach. It is remarkable that black, bleak, and bleach are all radically one word. The primary seems to be pale, wan, or sallow, from which has proceeded to present a variety of significations. So, this dictionary is one of the earliest. When you look in dictionaries, you want to find the etymology of the word. The etymology will be in the brackets. When you're looking for a word, you just can't read the word black and those 2 or 3 definitions that behind it. That doesn't give you the that gives you the definition of the word as it means today. But if you go down into the definition of the word, and don't get these little dictionaries you can buy from the dollar store. Go get some dictionaries to give you the history of these words, or do an etymology search of the word online, and it lets you know what these words are. The word black basically means to bleach out, to black out, to erase. To turn white. We got a show coming up next week, Black is the New White. You don't want to miss that. It's giving instructions. It's not to identify a person. It's to let you know what is going to happen to a person. Now, when we take those words, and this is where we suffer in the community. These are words that other people produce. These are words that other people make up along their history. You got to know what was happening to them in their history, when it was happening, who they were fighting in their history, where they were fighting, what was going on with these people in their history when these words came up. So what we do, they label us these terms, and this is I want you to understand this, because this is what happens. They label us these terms. We take these terms and wear them like a badge of honor. We will wear a necklace, a 100-pound necklace, gold-plated necklace around our neck saying I'm black. Not knowing that we're casting spells on ourselves. Well, Buck, what you mean we casting spells on ourselves, cuz? Because these words are power. These words are power. Guys, knowing how you tell your wife or your girlfriend that you love her, the way you say it to her gets a different response. Words are power. And when we use other people's words against ourselves, all we doing is making it possible for them to come in and do us in. It doesn't matter if you don't know the definition of the word or not. And that's where we have the problem. Because the Afrocentric groups, the Moorish groups, the Christian groups, the Muslim groups, they're using words and concepts and ideologies from other people. And when they do that, it always puts them in the negative light. I don't know how come this isn't common knowledge today in 2014. It's amazing that it's not. So when we use the words that other people give us, and they words mean black out, so what's happening? Are we being blacked out? Yeah. Are we being bleached out? Yeah. Isn't the land becoming lighter because we're not here on it no more to work with it? Yeah. Every time we use the word black, every time, it seems like one of us will die. That's how deep it is. So that look at black. Take the word B-L-A-C-K. Break it down. B-lack. The letter B, lack. Never have nothing. Never have nothing. Then when you ask those aforementioned groups that I just named, well, give me some of the words that your people came up with to talk about us in a different light. Now we double stuck because we don't know who we are. We don't try, and that's not the problem. The problem is we're not trying to find out. It would boggle your mind if I just go down to the university here and just watch. It would boggle your mind to see how we are walking around here and what we are doing, what we are saying, loud and proud, and people just laugh at us because we think we know what we're talking about, and we don't. When you say you black, all you're doing is killing yourself. Period. So that was from words and terms that keep the African American confused. And here was a question. So you believe Europeans wiped out a whole hemisphere and bought 2/4 of another hemisphere across the world on little cargo ships. History and religion forced on you has come from Europeans. It's reconstructed. How come the ministers don't tell the youth this? And one of the problems where we suffer is because we're full participant in our own genocide. We are full participants. We cool with it. Send your kids. Say, man, why would you send your kids over to the military? Why your kids going to the military? Don't you know that when you go help these people go kill other people, the karma comes back to our neighborhood? Don't you know when we go kill other people in other nations, our kids are going to die in the streets here? Karma. What you do will come back to you. What you think comes back to you. What you say comes back to you. When you go help Vietnamese kill when you go help Europeans kill Vietnamese, you have to suffer for that. When you send your sons and daughters to fight in Iraq and all these other countries, we have to pay for that. How come full-grown Negroes don't know that? We pretend like it don't happen. The arrogance on our stupidity is crazy. You send your kids to help this dogging you out here. Everybody done seen the picture. Everybody done seen the picture of the policeman punching that sister in the face in California. You would help them go kill other people across the room, and this is what they do to you here? For real, cuz? For real? That's what the African American does. Area code 605-562-3140. We're at African Americans Ain't African Radio on the Black Talk Network. Today we're going over some past shows showing how the so-called African American, where he finds himself, what he's doing in the paradigm is he in, and what is it doing to him. We have a few callers on the line. Any callers have anything they want to add or bring to the table? Rick, what you say?
And you laid it down, man. You laid down the law. Yeah, and something that you mentioned earlier about us not having our own shops and all these things you were talking about. Most of those things that you were talking about were inventions by our people, and everybody but us are taking advantage of that.
Dude,
most of those things that you mentioned.
Dude, you know what? And this is what gets me. This is what really gets me. I'm in the Southeast, and one of the things in the Southeast is that they're very high on education. If you don't go to college, you're looked at like you're shit. Seriously. If you're not a Christian and you're not in college, or you didn't go to school, or you hated school, they look at you like you have lost your mind. When they're standing in the reality of that those who went to school has produced nothing. That's why menticide is so important. I mean, the sister that we had on last week, Trina Armstrong, the sister was a college professor at a historically black college. She said she had to walk away from that bullshit. Because we playing. You mean, it's 2014. We getting stuff from China. Not one black person who's graduated from one of these colleges said, you know what, Tennessee State University, you're going to make refrigerators. Alabama State, you're going to make air conditioners. Tuskegee, you're going to start making bricks again. Alabama A&T, you're going to start making lawnmowers. Georgia, whatever, you're going to start making shoes. And this is how we're going to pimp this. Just no creativity in the community no more. None. All we do, and the people that do go into business, this is the embarrassing part about it. When we do go into business, we got to buy the products from other people. So now we got to charge our people more, and you only going to sell to your people because nobody else buys from you. Everybody boycotts you. But you can't go wait to lick everybody in the mouth. You just can't wait. This sister told me one time, I was at a flea market selling some stuff. An Asian dude was next to me. Sister came to my table, went to the Asian table, came back to my table, went back to the Asian table, and was looking at me the whole time while she was counting her bread off to him. She came back at the end and said what Tommy Sotomayor would say, I don't like black people. I was like, praise God for Jesus, baby. I understand. Everybody boycotts you. But soon as you get a dime in your pocket, do this. Check this out when you go out. You go give it to everybody else. And we don't even think about helping ourselves. Today. None of these black universities, we not making solar panels. We not saying later for this, let's start doing some solar panels. We not trying to get the land that we do have. And Negroes do have land. But since you call yourself Africa, you can't claim it because your mind is somewhere else. You are connected to the land. The land is what brought you forth. I know many of you think Jesus did and Muhammad did. Nah. Find out who your people are. Do a genealogy. Ask your grandmother. Ask your great-grandmom. Some of us still have some of our great-grandparents alive. Ask your people who you are. What they teaching you in colleges have nothing to do with reality. What they teaching you in college, I'm talking about from preschool on up, is to teach you to serve them. That's the purpose of the African American male. All the ones that you guys think are rich, ask them. They'll tell you. Your job is to serve. This is from the groups that confuse the African American, because a lot out there, like I said, check out these groups. The black Christians. Now, when I say Christians, I mean all of them: Presbyterian, African Methodist, Baptist, Jehovah's Witness, all of them. And those subgroups, that's about 100 subgroups right there. You got Christians, you got Muslims, you got Hebrew Israelites, you got Moors, you got the Black Power struggle. You got all those groups working. Just imagine a whole bunch of ants. Just imagine a whole bunch of ants going in all different directions. Whatever those ants are building doesn't get built because everybody's going their own direction. In the background, can you mute your phone, please? Thank you. What is that? We want to be everybody else's, but we don't want to be ourselves. Them days are over, y'all. We can't roll like that no more. We cannot roll like that no more. So this is one of the questions from that groups that confuse the African American. I thought this was an interesting quote. A lot of these groups are government agents. I'm noticing the Hebrew Israelites are now I'm noticing the Hebrew Israelite are now anti-African American woman, which is the government divide and conquer agenda. I agree these people are promoting confusion, saying that black Americans are the tribe of Puerto Ricos, Filipinos, Native Americans, and other groups that don't have our 9 ether hair. This just doesn't make sense. That's what I mean about the confusion that we bring. I'm not too up on the Hebrew Israelite story. Rick, are you up on that? How the Israelites group the Puerto Ricos, Filipinos, and Native Americans and other groups with us? You gone, Rick? Okay. So what this cat is saying is the confusion. And in his writings, he's just saying we are confused. This is what confused our children. So our children are thinking that they come from across the water somewhere. Well, all along, they land is right here, sitting up, waiting for somebody to come steal it because we're not claiming it, because we're claiming we're something that we're not. Any Afrocentric, you can wake up Dr. Ben, you can call John Henry Clark and all them cats, and yes, they lied to you. They knew they were lying to you. I know it hurts. You don't feel good. Start thinking. They were paid to anybody who has a job, I don't care who you are paid to do a job. And your job is to do whatever these people pay you to do. And some of us, we get upset acting like that's not the case. If you working at McDonald's and you making a taco, you ain't gonna work there too much longer. If you working at Burger King and you making Big Macs, you're not gonna work there. These cats are paid to lie to you. And one thing about the African American, one of the things I notice about the Afrocentric teachings, if you notice, they come across much like Christian sermons. You know, they try to pull your emotions out of you. And I think that's where a lot of us get stuck, because when we're emotional, we're really not using common sense. We're using emotions, and emotions are what they say they are. They're energy in motion. That energy is used to create motion. We don't create motion, we create havoc. We blow up. We hear a person talking about something we never heard before, and we automatically just blow up. We don't think about it. We don't stop and go research what they say. We don't go, I never thought of that. We don't do that. We blow up, get mad, make complete imbeciles of ourselves, and then have to come back to apologize because what the person was saying was right. You were just too lazy and stupid to go look it up. We are dying. We're getting wiped out. We don't have time to go to nobody's bar and sulk in it. Make your own alcohol. Masters say we can't do that. That's another thing. You ever see a Negro with a pitcher? He got a bottle of Hennessy and he holding up to his face like he made the bottle himself. That's an African American. Make your own alcohol, black man. You the first one on the planet. All other races came from you. This is why they laugh at us. This is why we are a joke. And we think it's cool. Our arrogance. I don't mind the not knowing, because you can always know. And that's what the people who's supposed to know try to do. Try to let our people know something so we can start working together and marching as a unit. We are connected to this land. We have to connect to the land first before we can connect with each other. And most of us are scared of the land. Most of us are scared of water. I had a cousin go down to the Caribbean, to one of the most prestigious islands down there. They say the water is so clear it look like you could damn near drink it. He was scared to get in the water, and he's 45 years old. Island surrounded by coral reef. Beautiful. He's scared to get in the water. 45 years old. This is where we are. Now I know y'all don't like to hear it. It hurts. You better wake up out of this. Ask the Egyptians. Look and see what happened to the Egyptians. Study the Egyptian history. Don't get into it because they were some people that had dark skin who, did some significant and made some significant progress in the world. You also have to ask yourself the question, if they were so bad, how'd they get wiped out? And I'm talking about they got obliterated. Nothing grows in northern Africa. It's a desert. How if that was one of the places where civilization first started, what happened to it? These are the questions that we don't ask. Where are the Egyptians today? I'm talking about the real ones, not the Semites. Semites meaning half. Semite, sweet chocolate, Semite, half. Brothers wanted to go ahead and screw the Roman and Greek women. The sisters over there wanted to have them a Roman and Greek soldier. And they're out of existence. They're gone, and their land is a desert. Same thing happening in America right now with the African American. You think I'm lying? Do your research. On February 5th, Rick, you introduced Boule Bleach Out. Talk to us about Boule Bleach Out and what Boule Bleach Out is.
What the Boule Bleach Out is, it's a phrase that I coined from Steve Coakley, one of our fallen comrades, talking about the black bourgeoisie, or the so-called people who have made a pact with the Illuminati to continue white supremacy, to make sure it is alive and well. And most of your people who we look up to are part of this so-called boule. The bleach out part I got from that definition that you gave of black. It means bleach. So I came up with the phrase, to try to let the listeners know that these people who they think that they look up to are just a bunch of people that's fronting, and they have the same purpose as everybody else, is to just consume off of you. And we haven't done too many Boule Bleach Outs, but hopefully we'll continue to do more in the future. But we talking about all kinds of people, from your preachers to your Afrocentrics to your Hebrew Israelites, Moors, all kinds of people. I mean, anybody who keeps us from being who we are that dealing with some kind of other ideology that we really don't connect to, and believe me, everybody knows what they connect to. That's why you don't see too many of us trying to make that voyage over to Africa, because we don't connect to it. And so I created Boule Bleach Out to let you know on some of the people who you think are so great aren't as great as you might think.
Oh, hey, you know what, Rick? You know who we're going to have to do a Boule Bleach Out on? I got into it with a brother the other day. He wanted to fight. Man, you know, you're going to have to do a Boule Bleach Out on the Black Panthers.
Oh, we will. It will be one. As a matter of fact, I'm also really going to start hitting on some of these Afrocentrics too. Some of these guys, and I'm talking about doing whole shows on them, because I've listened to a couple of these guys and just broke down everything that they said, and I'll show you that these guys are just as fake as they look on the when they talk.
So look for a Boule Bleach Out coming soon. But Rick, I'm telling you, man, we definitely got to do Black Panther. That Black Panther story. So let's try that for the next couple of weeks, man. Black Panther, because man, when you hear about the Black Panther Party, you're not gonna believe us. I mean, these are facts you can pull up. You can ask people. These are facts. When you hear about how inept and crazy the Black Panther Party was, you're going to know that it was a CIA front from the beginning, because we couldn't have been that dumb. And when we bring it out, you're going to be like, you're kidding. One of the places that you can learn about the Black Panthers, if you're in California, is go to Oakland, California, Santa Barbara, up there. That's that Bohemian Grove type shit that happens up there. And they do some stuff with Negroes up there, man. Because you won't believe the Black Panther Party. Area code 605-562-3140. Call us. African American Ain't African Radio. We have a few callers on the line. Any callers have anything they want to add or anything they want to bring to the table? On the 4th of March, we had John Griffin. He was a black Seminole Indian. We went to interview him down in, where's that, Orlando, Florida. And I shot him. The video's up on YouTube. I shot him, and as this guy was talking, I was kind of getting what you were saying, Rick, is that a lot of people, it's their job to disconnect us from, you know, what to disconnect us from who we are and what we are. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when he kept saying that black, who are the black people? What does that mean? Who are the black people? Like the black people weren't a part of anything. That how that word is used. So if you say Indians, you get a general idea that he's talking to the people that are connected to this land. When they say French, you know of some people who came over from France. When they say Moors, you know of some people who came over from Europe. When they say Europe, whites, Germans, English, you know they're people who came over from Europe. But the way he used black bothered me, Rick.
Yeah, it bothered me too, man.
So check him out. I mean, the video is posted because I try to get information from, you know, the elder people that I can. I try to interview a lot of elder people. As a matter of fact, I'll let the listeners know now. If you got some elders in your family that is still Cossack, videotape them. Just sit the camera down and ask them questions. Because you're going to need this information. You're going to need to know who you are, because you're being crowded out. You're being drowned out by foreigners. And they're coming setting up. They comfortable. They comfortable coming into your community because they know they're going to be rich. Imagine if you could go to Honduras knowing that you can go up there and set up something and be rich. Imagine if you can go to Korea, set up in the middle of where all the young people are in Korea, and open up a black hair shop in Korea, and you could get rich doing that. Imagine that. These foreigners know they can come over here and pimp you from your resources, and you're going to give them your resource. You ain't going to even complain about it. You're going to go give it to them with a smile. That's the African American. So check out the John Griffin one. He's a black Seminole Indian. But when you hear his story, and it's only about an hour long, when you hear his story, it's kind of confusing because it's convoluted. On the 13th of February, we talked about African Americans in sports. And then since that time, again, it shows us where we are, where the African American is. We did this on the 13th of February, and a few months later, Donald Sterling said that he didn't want monkeys like you coming into his arena. Now I know somebody's going to jump to Donald Sterling's defense and say, Massa didn't say that. Yeah, he did. He told the girl that he didn't want you to be seen with these Negroes because I have to go hang with my white boys. I got to go hang with my partners. And when I go hang with them, they talk about me. Say, what you doing dating a black boy for? Because white boys, when they refer to black males, they refer to black African American males as girls. Because as males, we haven't stood up and defended our land, our earth. We haven't defended the sanctity and honor of our females, our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our friends, our aunts. The black male has built nothing for his women and children and mothers and elders to be safe in. The black male has not used his creativity. The only thing the black male uses his creativity for is to make sure his massa is paid. Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, all of that. African American in sports, we're all embarrassed. If you are proud of that, if you are proud of African American in sports, you are an African American. And Larry Johnson, this is how you know, and this is how I can back it up. Because when Donald Sterling told you he didn't want you and he don't want the and he screwing a black guy. That wasn't a girl, it was a guy. Look at him. Look at Donald Sterling. Do your background work on Donald Sterling. This dude is not even human. This dude ain't even human. This is how they got us, man. This is who is running our lives. He told her, I pay these dudes whatever. If it wasn't for me, they wouldn't eat. That's how they look at you. You're not nothing to them. You're a thing. That's why they call you black. You notice when white folks call you black, how they say it? It's demeaning the way they say it. Because they know it's not connected. It's nothing. They look at you like you don't even have a heartbeat. And you know what we do when they do that? Boss, I love you. That's the African American. Tell me I'm lying. Call me up. Tell me I'm lying. 605-562-3140. Tell me I'm lying. Larry Johnson said that the black man should get his own league, compete with the NBA. When's the last time you heard that, Rick?
Never until he said it.
I'm talking about since he said it. What have you heard? Have Magic Johnson been hey Mike, hey man, later. Let them have the Charlotte Hornets back, man. Let's start our own league. Let's get these brothers start our own league. Let's build let's not be in the major cities. Let's be in the cities where the inner cities where the majority of Americans are, and let's build some stadiums like these so-called Indians did these casinos. How they put these? Let's put some little arena. Let's get these little kids some training. Let's let them, let's build a team and a league that we can be proud of. Where's the creativity of the We'll put them out of business.
Put them out. Hey, how do you think that the NBA and the NFL got how they are now? Because of so-called African Americans. You take them out, they create their own league. People want to see the best. They don't want to see the second best. They don't want to see the third best. They want to see the best. You will put them out of business.
But Rick, how come? Come on, man. How come? Come on, man. Are we that beat down? Are we that crushed to the earth where it's not even dialogue? I mean, I know brothers. I mean, that's all they talk is sports. I know cats who, in their house, ESPN is on all the time. All they know is sports. They got all the jerseys, all the baseball caps. That's another show we got to do on baseball caps. Brothers in these baseball caps. When you hear the science behind that, you're gonna wet yourself. How come we not talking about that, Rick? How come that's not? I mean, even out in the community. Because what that brother said, he dropped a bomb. And you haven't heard nothing else from it. You don't hear none of the talk. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
Hey, no, I just wanted to call in and say hello. My name is Austin, calling from North Carolina. And, I've been following the show now for several months. And the whole talk about our young men, with me being a part of that group, I see where we're headed, especially my generation. It's kind of sad, but I got a chance to talk to my grandmother who lives in Ohio, her and my grandfather, and they told me that they had land down in Alabama. And, Martin Luther King actually stayed on the land during, his rights. But my grandma said that, she was never taught by any white man. She said that all of her teachers down in Alabama and her school was all black. She said that, they had their own curriculum and whatnot. And, she told me that, a lot of our family, they were very educated, and, they spoke very well English. But the men especially, they knew that we weren't African. And so, I got to talking to her, about, her grandparents and, my grandma's mother is still alive. She's 94. We call her Big Mama, but her mother, her name was Mama Queen, and on my granddad's side, my granddad's mother, her name was Mama Child, and they have very native features, but she was telling me the reason why especially here in the South we have soul food. It's what has been native. It's the native food to America. And, she said that a lot of people in her generation knew that they weren't from Africa, but they tried to put as far back in their mind as possible because anybody who would try to voice that, would quickly get stomped out, especially living down the South during, the 60s and whatnot. But I just want to thank you guys for, keeping the community, especially our people, educated and helping us to, open up our consciousness,
Sir, can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Did your ancestors did your elders tell you about your Indian heritage?
Well, my grandfather told me that his last name, before the family switched it to Graham, he said that his father always used to tell him his last name was Jacko. And I did a little, research into that, and Jacko was an Indian, an American Indian last name, But my grandmother told me that a lot of that the native Indians, the Native American Indian side of the family, she said that she doesn't know much about the tribes because they never really talked about it. But she did know, look at my family and you look at their high cheekbones and some of their hair, and some of them have very distinct, native features, which doesn't look like, West African features like they say we come from. But I'm going to dive into that a little bit more. I started looking online to, see if how far back I can go, because I didn't want to pay money for ancestry, but if I need to, I will, just because I'm very curious now as to where,
Well, go ahead and
you can go to FamilySearch.com and it's free.
Okay.
They keep pretty good records. Also, one more question, man. How old are you, man?
I'm 23 years old.
Oh, all right. Good to hear from the young folks.
Yeah, man, I really appreciate your call in, man. Also, too, you can use the other one, but you can just use it for 2 weeks. But in those 2 weeks, if you can, and also if you can, get a couple of people to go in with you on it. You can get 3 or 4 people to go in with you on it to break down the cost. Even if you get it for.
I talked to my sister, and she said that she would definitely go in for me. My sister was very, believe that, we came from Africa and this and that, and very much so an Afrocentric, like, was talked about in the last show. But, I told her, and I start, they say the scariest thing is a nigga inside the library, and when black people actually do research for themselves, and I was able to show her that picture of the reconciliation between Daughter America and Mother Great Britain, and she's able to start seeing these things for herself, she's well, old enough to be able to, decide between, what to believe and what to not, what not to believe. But, she's finally starting to come around, and, she always said that, my grandmother had Aboriginal features, and I think that it's good to know that, a lot of our people, they are awakening, to the truth, and the facts have always been there, unfortunately, as young people, the last thing they do these days is pick up books.
So earlier you were talking about, you said you see the direction of the way, you said you're 23. You see the direction, you said you can see the direction where all this craziness is going. Can I ask you, what do you see?
Yes, sir. So being here in North Carolina, you have this mentality in the South, where, and I was even, caught up in it a little bit, but, a lot of these single mothers, who are trying their best to raise these young men, because there is no sense of direction, from that father figure. A lot of them turn to the streets, and down here we have a lot of GDs, Folk Nation, and you have a lot of Bloods. You don't have as many Crips, but you have a lot of Mexican gangs like MS-13, and the young black man, he glorifies, these the gang lifestyle, being either you're in a gang or you're out selling, and if you're not doing one of those things, either they look at you as either you're gay or, you must be in school. There's no sense of individuality because everything is just grouped together, you know. And it doesn't help that, you know, our music, you know, glorifies, you know, getting money off of drugs and this and that. But a lot of young black men, you know, because they do, you know, bask in being in a gang and, you know, living that street life, that hood life, you know, for the ones who are trying to, you know, get an education, they look down on them, you know, because maybe they, you know, speak proper English, you know, maybe they have both parents, you know, and so that would give, you know, them any reason to hate, you know, and so there's this divide right now, which I'm seeing, where if you're not trying to, I guess, get money in a sense, then you're a punk, and you know, a lot of our people do not respect one another. If they see someone trying to do better for themselves, you know, they actually look down upon that. They'll start hating on you, you know, and instead of, you know, encouraging, you know, and trying to pull each other up, you know, we just keep killing each other, you know, we keep putting each other down, you know, and it's sad, you know, it's really sad. I don't see anything, you know, that could possibly happen which would make, you know, the young black male, you know, want to turn around and do better and, you know, say, you know, if Martin Luther King was here now, you know, what would he see when he looked at our generation? You know, because it's only going from bad to worse. It's not getting better.
So what do you see?
I see personally, because I live kind of close to the city. Well, I do live in the city, kind of close to downtown. Me personally, I have a lot of cousins involved in gangs. I have a lot of friends, you know, and family members who are also involved in, you know, the drug trade. And, you know, it's sad to me that it almost seems like the police know which neighborhoods are, you know, who's doing, you know, who's controlling the drugs and whatnot. And it's like they just have that tapered off, you know. And today, you know, I'm a home inspector here, so, you know, I go inside these vacant houses on Martin Luther King, and you know, I'm talking to the neighbors, you know. She's telling me, you know, yeah, I saw, you know, some man sitting up on the porch, you know, looking like he was about to try and break in, and then he saw me, you know, popped his head over, and, you know, I told her, you know, it's sad that, you know, we're in a situation now to where these old historic houses on Martin Luther King, you know, those were our people's houses, you know. These huge houses, our people worked for that. Our people built those houses, and, you know, we had large families. Nowadays, you know, there is no family orientation as far as how families used to be. You know, everybody used to be living in one house together, and, you know, these houses are, you know, being overrun now by, you know, either dealers or whatnot, or you have prostitution, you know, it could be anything, but, you know, they neglect it, you know, and so, you know, being the person I am, you know, I always try and look for the good in all of my people, you know, because I do think that there's potential for all of us to, you know, be great like we once were, you know. There's a reason why, you know, because we are American, you know, we are so giving, we're very loving, but it just seems like, you know, the young black male is just programmed to just hate, you know, unless they're going to school and, you know, trying to do something with their lives, you know, work or whatever, whether it either be a job at McDonald's or, you know, I don't care as long as you're staying away from the trouble. But I just feel like the South is breeding this type of lifestyle, and it's sad, you know. It's really sad. You got dope boys everywhere, you know. You got dealers, you got killers, you got hustlers. So,
well, sir, thank you for sharing that with us tonight. Please keep listening. Thank you for your contributions, and thank you for listening, and thank you for letting us know that.
Yes, sir. No problem.
All right.
No problem.
All right, brother. Thanks, brother.
Yes, sir.
You know, you see, this is what I'm saying. This cat is 23 years old. and he has better conversation than some cats I know that's 60. So why is the young black male on self-destruct mode? What did we do to put young brothers in this type of mindset? Because all of us, these are our children. Any more callers on the line? Anybody have anything they want to add? Rick?
I just wanted to say that, brothers, hey, we were the ones that were created to be the security for the family. We got to do our jobs, fellas. If we don't do our jobs, there's no way that we're going to survive this. Remember, back in the days when trouble came to the tribe, it was the males that confronted it and not the females. So right now, we're just out there, and basically a lot of these females are on their own. You know, I get ridiculed a lot for saying that, but I don't say that just for my health, because I'm a male too. So I'm not proud to say that, but brothers, we ain't on the job, man. We gotta step it up. And until we do, because we're the ones that's going to eventually solve this problem, because we're the security, we're the heavy work. We gotta protect these females. We gotta protect our children, man. Or like Buck said earlier, we're gonna be thought of the past just like the Egyptians.
That's definitely, Rick, I'm glad you said that, because that's definitely where we headed. And I just want everybody to take into context what this young brother said. He's 23. He could be my son. What are we teaching our children? Hopefully this brother's talking to his grandmama and granddaddy, finding out who he is. That's what this show is for. Seriously? I can't believe we believe that African story. I just can't believe it. And the emotion and the energy that we put into that is crazy. You know what's funny to me? My mother gets mad at me, but this is funny. You know how they go to Africa and they go to those caves, those places, and the people start crying?
Right.
That cracks me up, dude. I had a paper one time, I wish I still had it. A friend of mine rode over to the Sierra Leone, whatever of history, antiquities, whatever the institution was, wrote a letter talking about the slave castles. You know what they wrote back? They said, that's just the entertainment draw. That's an entertainment. It's not real. It's for it's what do you call it when you go to Disneyland or Magic Mountain? When you go to a city, what is that called?
Amusement park?
No, when you go to attractions. They're attractions. When you have a city set up, you have to you want to have something where when people come to your city, they want to come see this. Right. A lot of people go to Paris to go to the museum over there. A lot of people go to England to see Big Ben. A lot of people come to America to see the Grand Canyon. It's an attraction.
Right.
Brothers, we're going to have to start building some attractions, cuz like that young brother say, he's 23, and the cold part about it, he's me. When I was 23 years old, the same thing. See, we like to say, oh, we ain't bringing no drugs in the community. Oh, yeah, you are. We ain't flying that shit over here. No, your job is to make sure that you make zombies out of all the people in the community. That's your job. We like to play these games. We play these games, and it confuses us. And like the brother say, all these, I'm like, do we have any crackheads left? You would think they would be all, man, this is what we're doing. And those people get all the love and adulation. because they get the money, and what they're going to go do with the money is go buy white boy stuff. They're not going to try to build nothing and set up something where we can come up. We don't think, the African American doesn't think like that. So to the young brother, all I can say to you, if you can find some land, some earth that your grandparents left somewhere, and you can come up with a plan and show them that you have a plan to do it, it can be growing corn, fish farms. Get with some brothers, some like-minded people. Find those people if you can. Find some other brothers who are down in the South doing farms. You can go to some of these universities. A lot of these universities are agriculture universities. And I'm sure there's brothers around those universities who are doing some things. Also, for your generation too, solar panels. Solar panels. I think the solar thing would be a perfect opportunity if we could do garage manufacturing. You know, just make solar panels in the garage. If we could do that, you know, so Rick, can I ask you a question? How come brothers don't have no Home Depots or Lowe's, stuff like that?
They too busy consuming from them, buying their stuff from Lowe's and all that. They not thinking about trying to have their own.
Trina Armstrong said something the other night that was off the hook. She said she was talking to one of her cousins, and her cousin, you know, she walked away from her job, and her cousin had lost her job, and her cousin was frantic, saying, I gotta find me a job. And Trina told her something that just made her, and I like stories like this. Trina said, why are you in such a hurry to go work for somebody to make them a whole bunch of money? Her cousin was like, I never thought of it like that. Those are the type things that I think a lot of these young boys or these young men, like the young man was just talking about, enough of those things aren't being said to them. And I know where he's coming from because I talk to young brothers all the time, and they have straight hatred in their heart. So we're going to have to talk about that hatred and how it got there and why is it there. And when we find out what it will, we say we got a lot of sociopathic behavior going on in our community. And a lot of times it's not what we think it is. A lot of times it can be mental. And a lot of times it is mental. Because we play in these games. We are not things, people. We are not things. So Rick, in closing, you have anything you want to close with?
No, I just wanted to say, hope y'all enjoyed the show tonight, and hope we can continue to give you the lowdown on what's going on, you know, around the so-called community and things that we can do to improve it, and also to try to let everybody know what things they need to watch out for and what things they need to do, you know, in case. And I've enjoyed this first 6 months of doing the show, and looking forward to the next 6. Thanks, Buck, for inviting me to be a host on the show with you, and I'm looking forward to future shows. And good night to everybody.
Thank you, Rick. I want to thank the listeners, too. And I especially want to thank the young brother that called, because this is why we do this. This young brother called me about 5-6 months ago, searching for answers. And so he's starting to find them. He's starting to find them. Connect with your families. Connect with cousins who was your auntie kids, your mother's sister kids who moved to Chicago. You may have moved to L.A.
Hey, Buck, you coming in scratchy.
All right,
you coming in scratchy.
Okay. Still coming in scratchy.
Yeah.
Close it out for me, Rick.
All right. And to close out, stay tuned for the next episode of Africans Americans Ain't African. for Buck Wildem, this is Rick Moon saying good night all, and keep it on. Good night.